And welcome to Have I Got News for You? My name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the strains of Big George fade away, it's time once again for me to say, in the news this week. After successfully losing 3 stone, it's a welcome return to competitive football for Paul Gascoigne. In Azerbaijan, there's a victory for fundamentalists as the authorities close down the country's only pole dancing club. And there are high hopes for tourism here in East Anglia as the Norwich Hilton opens for business. Not fair. On Ian Hislop's team, the political editor of the Sunday Express, who was told by Sandra Howard recently, I couldn't bear it if Michael were around home too much. Well, she'd better make the most of this week, hadn't she? Please welcome Julia Hartley-Brewer. And we call Merton tonight as a writer and actor who recently took part in a series entitled Why I Hated the 60s. I don't know, I'm quite looking forward to mine. Will you please welcome Chris Langham. And we start, as always, with round 1. Ian and Julia, would you like to take a look at this?
Pinocchio? Sorry, Blair. Sorry.
Blair saying I'm not a liar. Gordon saying, you see, you're doing it again. Clinton?
Yes. Line from New York. The Attorney General, Lord Goldsmith, who changed his mind, got a bit confused about the war. And, oh, yes, the protesters on the top of John Prescott's house. And they're very upset. Pauline. She's very upset, yes. Mm. The latest campaign poster from Labour. Tories are going to take your firstborn child and charge you for it. Something like that. It's difficult to remember them. They all blur into one.
Yeah, this is the last full week of Labour's campaign.
Thank God.
But, well...
Thank God.
You're a political editor.
I know. Imagine what you're going through. Imagine how much worse it is for us writing about it.
What came back to haunt Tony Blair last week? Or this week, actually?
Well, it's been haunting him for quite a while. It was a lie about Iraq.
Yes, Iraq.
Oh, well.
Oh, you don't like that word?
It's a strong word.
It's a strong word, I know.
Is there a better word for Iraq?
No.
Toy Town. You lied about Toy Town.
No, but it's the details of Attorney General's advice to Blair on the legality of the war. They were leaked earlier in the week, yes, and they've now been published in full by the government.
Well, the Attorney General said on March the 7th that he wasn't sure, and then on March the 17th he said he was sure that it was legal, so he was fine about that. I thought he might be sexed up by Alistair Campbell or something. It was a bit of a threat, you know.
You're saying the Attorney General was sexed up by Alistair Campbell?
But Blair today, he was forced to publish this report of the Attorney General's advice. And at the end of it, he said, there's no smoking gun. And I thought, well, actually, I'm not sure we need your advice on the identification of weapons at this point in the story.
You know, the day that Tony Blair said he never lied was the same day that his plane was hit by lightning. I'm not passing any comment. I'm just saying bigger forces are at work than us.
It was a fantastically classic piece of lawyerese. You get a lawyer to give you an opinion, and all he'll do is say, you might be right, you might be wrong, up to you, mate, you don't blame me. That's it. 137 pages of whoop.
That's right. And £7,000 as well.
Have you had similar advice in the past?
I've had a lot of similar advice saying, don't invade Iraq. And I just keep on doing it. No wonder I get into trouble.
What happened to Tony Blair when he visited a school in Lambeth?
Did a giant raven come and carry him off?
Yeah. I remember seeing it on the news. A giant raven comes in. Yeah?
No, we have a bit of ET on it.
OK. There it is. There's a giant raven, look.
Tony Blair went
looking
to
up
a
at
South East London school this morning to the sound of this. Labour advisers claimed afterwards this was not booing in the classic sense, but a modish teenage expression of approval.
Alistair Campbell insists that he didn't get booed, he got boomed.
That's right.
It's a street thing. You'll know all about this, Ian.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what the kids on the street are doing. They're booming.
They're booming.
Yeah, it's a sign of appreciation and love.
And how does it
It
manifest
sounds
itself?
like boo, bizarrely.
Tony also took part in a French lesson and learnt the French for a certain word. Do you know what it was?
Le liar.
No, you're getting close.
Is it aubergine?
No.
You're sure it's not aubergine?
No, aubergine comes later. It was... It was told the French for hamster.
Hamster?
And do you know what it is?
Le hamster.
Le hamster, you're quite right, yes. Did anyone see the BBC cutbacks that have affected the electronic graphics department?
No.
Well, there we are.
So here's Tony Blair's problem.
Doesn't look anything like John Prescott, does it?
Well, you mentioned John Prescott there. Can you tell me how has his week been?
I'm slightly envious of him because he had some people install some solar heating panels on his roof, which I've been waiting months for.
Didn't cost him a penny.
Didn't cost him a penny, and he's made a fuss about it. And he said there was a fantastic quote where he said, "Wives are not for terrorising." He didn't say what they were for, but he said that...
He put a sign up. He put a sign up. Do you remember what the sign was that he put up?
No, didn't they put the sign up?
They put the sign up.
Oi, two jags.
Oi, two jags.
Hit targets, not voters.
No, I liked your idea that he'd put the sign up. I think that would have been funnier.
It would have been funnier, yes. But
He's his own worst enemy, isn't he?
He might be a superhero we know nothing about.
Could be, yes.
There isn't enough lycra in the world, mate.
No.
And finally, who has recently emerged from the shadows?
Hank Marvin. He's doing a solo tour. Doing a solo tour.
They're the political shadows.
Oh, I've never heard of them.
Well, no, the most obvious one of all. Alistair Campbell, whose leaked memo claimed the election was in the bag. He said the job is largely done. A Labour spokesman complained by saying Campbell's words were twisted to alter their meaning. Yeah. So, Ian, getting back to the Attorney-General, he is, of course, the country's leading lawyer. You obviously have got plenty of experience of lawyers. So, what I thought... Yes, I mean, I believe you have. So, what I thought would be a marvellous idea now, if you were to talk about lawyers, you know, for just a minute, without hesitation, repetition or deviation, and the subject is taking advice from your lawyer starting now.
The main thing to worry about when taking advice from your lawyer is he will make sure that he personally cannot be sued by any other lawyers. Thus, the Attorney-General said, on the one hand, we might be legal in going into Iraq, and on another digit-filled...
Hesitation there when they said digit-filled instead of hand.
Yes, definitely hesitation. Yes, I'm sorry. So there are 45 seconds left. Can you take over the subject? Taking advice from your lawyer, Paul, starting now.
The other day, I took some very serious...
Chris, you've challenged.
Deviation. It's the wrong programme.
Yeah. It's all right, it's the wrong programme.
Am I alone on this?
No, you get a point for that and a correct challenge. You've got the subject, taking advice from lawyers, and you start now.
My lawyer lives in Baden-Baden. Jeez. It takes some skill, this, doesn't it?
Deviation, he lives in Chiswick.
Yes, the recitation is not. Right. Well, yes, this is the last full week of Labour's campaign. There was a scare for John Prescott when 8 Greenpeace protesters climbed onto the roof of his house. They knew the roof could take their weight, as they'd seen John Prescott up there earlier adjusting his television. Interestingly, 8 activists are the only Greens to have made it anywhere near John Prescott's dinner table. A furious John Prescott told reporters, "These people are terrorising my wife." Oh, come on, John. This is a woman who's seen you in your underpants. Paul and Chris, take a look at this.
That's Michael Howard, obviously, and Jose Mourinho at the end. If he's prepared to lie to us about the war, then, she's keen.
She's trying.
That's Charles Kennedy.
And Sedgefield,
something like that. That's who he is. Many people didn't know who he was, and now he's joined the Liberal Democrats.